destined for greatness. My name is written in stars, and I will give everything, all that I have to the cause. Fight against evil, run through the pain, battle it all, this is more than a game. I am a lion and I can't be tamed, it's how it was made, there's ice in my veins, run through it all. No matter the odds, I will answer a call. The enemy knocks on the door. Even the greatest among us will fall, but the greatest will get back up. So I won't back down, and I won't give up, and I will act now, and I will stand up. They know that I'm here for it all. Rise up, no matter what's in my way. Rise up, I will do what it takes. I will keep on fighting. I'll rise through it all. Rise up, no matter what's in my way. Rise up, I will do what it takes. I will keep on fighting. I'll rise through it all. Rise up.
No matter what it is you need, you'll find it at your local Par-Mar store. From gas to grocery, snacks, and everything else you always seem to run out of, Par-Mar stores has it. Need more savings? Download the Par-Mar app and sign up for the Par-Mar Rewards Card. You won't only see our stores in your neighborhoods, you'll see us in your neighborhoods too. We are proud to be in your town and proud to be a part of the community. Come see us at Par-Mar stores, and remember, if there's not a Par-Mar store near you now, there will be soon.
Wilson Martino Dental. Did you know that 95% of our dentists have graduated from WVU? And many former players and WVU coaches trust Wilson Martino Dental with their oral health. The Mountaineers and Wilson Martino Dental. Yeah, we do that.
And hello, Mountaineer Nation, and welcome to Mountaineer Hardcourt Legends Pregame for the Mountaineers versus the Kansas Jayhawks. And we have a really special day today. I'm the Wolfman, Dale WolfMan. This is a special time, a special pregame, because we have some great legends on with us here to review Oklahoma State and to break down the Jayhawks, which, by the way, fellas, did you know that's a fictitious bird? It's not even real. What's a Jayhawk? What is it, man? Come on. We got a live bound here. We got a mascot, baby. What's that mascot? Regardless, anyways.
Like what's the Nitty Lion?
There you go, right there. I'll tell you, if we talk about being a jaybird, though, Tim, I think you'd be the tallest one to get that one there. But I'm going to go with this and welcome, first off, our newest legend to be on this show. Not newest legend, but newest legend to be on this show. And that would be Damian Owens. Dio, what's up, brother?
What's up, Wolf? What's up, Prue? Kearney, man. Good to be on with y'all, man. Good to be here. Thanks for having me here.
Well, we love having you here, man. I just got to say this to give you a little bit of pump here. This is your first time. And when you graduated from WVU, you were the only Mountaineer ever to be in the top 10 in scoring, steals, rebounds, blocks, assists, and field goals made. How does that feel? And are you still that today?
Well, I knew about 5 of them. I didn't know about the field goals made until you told me that. Just told me that. I didn't know about the field goals made. But to be in all fairness to Prue and Kearney, I probably was top 10 in turnovers too. So,
well, you know what? I'm going to tell you this.
Top 10 in turnovers too. But I didn't know. And as far as where it stands today, I really don't know. I know. I believe Javon Carter broke the record for steals in one season. So I know that, I believe. But the rest, I'm not sure.
Well, that's okay, but I will say this. I know that you were Big East Defensive Player of the Year one time, and you are just too darn pretty to be that mean to be on the defensive end, making all those kinds of things. Blocks and steals, I don't know. That's hard to believe, but you were a great player for the Mountaineers, brother. I'm so glad to have you on here. And, of course, let's go to Tim Kearney. Now, Tim, if you notice the latest promo ad I put out there, you were the centerfold of the whole video, scoring that game-winning basket against Virginia Tech against Ronnie Everhart.
Yeah, Ron still he's still pissed off about that.
That's right. That's great. Hey, it's great to have you on. As always, you're a mainstay on the show, man. We love it. And then we got to go to DP, Darryl Prue, Hall of Famer WVU. How you doing today, DP?
I'm good, Dale. I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Are you ready? Are you fired up?
Oh yeah, I'm ready.
You calling me at 6 o'clock in the morning talking about the Mountaineers being the Jayhawks, man. Well, let's get this baby started because when we look at this, the pregame here, you have the 13-1, 2-0 in the Big 12 Jayhawks coming to the Coliseum. They've won their last 2 games, only 2 games in the Big 12 by a total of, I believe, 5 points. They just beat Texas Tech by 3, breaking Texas Tech's 25-game win streak, and of course beating the other team was it Kansas State there by 2, or no, Oklahoma State by 2. Oklahoma State by 2. So they've won, but they've had to come out and win at the end. So starting this off, I'm going to go ahead and talk about this because, I'm going to say D, so I'm going to say Dio. So, Damian, when you look at Hugs, he said, it didn't matter the Kansas State game that they out-rebounded the Wildcats because they couldn't make the free throws. They missed 18 of them. And then against Oklahoma State, they missed 11. Looking here, when you see Jimmy Bell is going to come up here, and he's just one of them, of the guys that are missing their shots because they're only shooting 39% in this, but they're missing their free throws. What do they got to do, man, to get these free throws back? Because they have a total of 39 turnovers in those 2 losses. I mean, it's turnovers and free throws. Those are like points given away.
Well, first of all, the turnovers are going to hurt you more than anything because a lot of those are going to come from fast breaks. They turn into fast breaks, easy buckets, 3-on-2s, 3-on-1s. So you got to cut back on the turnovers. And if you make a team it's very rare that a team is actually, unless you go to Princeton or Harvard or something, it's very rare that a team is going to.
You broke up, Dio.
Can you hear me?
Can hear you now. Yep, go ahead, continue.
Yeah, I said it's very rare, unless you're going to Princeton or Harvard or something, that the team is going to kill the shot clock and take a shot until the last second. So if you give them these easy points, these quick buckets with the turnovers, that's going to always hurt you. As far as the free throws, I mean, yeah, I know I didn't do my fair share of being the best at that in my time as well. But it's free. You got to take advantage of those, and you got to hit that 70% mark at the minimum in order to do something. So those are, like you say, free points either that you're giving away because of turnovers, or that you have to get because of the free throws.
Yeah, DP, it doesn't matter how good the other team is, and we know how good they are, being with Kansas State and Oklahoma State, but you can't do that and expect to win.
No, it's kind of hard. Dio said, I wasn't a good free throw shooter either, but we put the ball in the basket. These guys are not putting the ball in the basket and missing free throws. So you got a double whammy. If Bell was giving you 12, 15 points a game, he missed a couple of free throws, it might be okay, but he's averaging 6 and still missing 6 or 7, 8 free throws. So it's not that, it just compounds of what's going on.
Well, what about you, Tim? Could you shoot the free throw?
I wasn't very good at the free throw line. Back in the days.
It must be a Catlett thing.
I'm glad you said it. I'm glad because I'll tell you what, Gail got into our heads a lot of times on the free throw. When we just need to relax. I remember back in the day when we played UNLV and I was fouled first couple minutes of the game, and I'm looking down there, national televised game, and I start laughing because I'm saying, please don't throw an air ball. It was just, the mindset at that time. But fortunately, I hit a lot of free throws, but it's all about mindset. And I think Bell just needs to get on the free throw line and maybe get with some of the coaches. That was a big difference in that game last week as far as on the free throw line. They could have won the game with the free throws.
Last 2 games.
Other things too. Some other things that, with Eric, what he did and things like that, which I'm sure we're going to discuss as far as what happened there with the technical foul. But still, there's just, they need to get their head together. That's all.
Well, there's no doubt. And we got to give credits to Jimmy Bell Jr., too, because he did have 9 rebounds. So it's not like he wasn't trying. He was giving the effort out there. but you got to take care of the freebies, and you got to reduce the turnovers because the other teams are too good. They don't need your help to win. They can win on their own, and that's the point I was trying to give with you guys, and you did a good job explaining it. And when you go ahead and you say, you talk about Hawks, he said, the defense is not where it needs to be. And here's the clip. I want you to look at this clip, a couple clips, and see what he's talking about. The defense is not where it was in the past up to his standards. And you can see here they're going to have a miscommunication. They both follow the shooter and get blocked off. What's going on? I'm going to start with you, Tim. When you see kind of miscommunication like that, what's happened? There's only 5 of them now. You got to be able to communicate on the floor. What's happening?
From what I see, especially with some of these plays here, the one you're just showing right now, it is communication. And I know that a lot of times, and it's killed West Virginia in the past, and it's still hurting us right now, are these backdoor cuts and no one talking to each other and making sure we have, the help defense on the other side.
What about you, Dio? What do you see?
Well, first and foremost, I believe that your defense should never slack, period. I mean, you have times where your offense might be off, your shot might be off, you're just having a bad game, but defense is fundamentals. It's just basic skills and basic, so that should never be off, number one. But I think as far as the communication, we got to speak up louder. The man, especially when the point guard or shooting guard is out there, the big man has to come up and let him know that a pick is coming. He has to step out as well on something like that. But when you're trying to keep an eye on the man in front of you with the ball, it's hard to see what's coming up from behind you as well. That's where the communication got to come out. And the man that's furthest away from the ball should be the one that's pinpointing everything because he can see the most.
Mm-hmm. No doubt. And so, DP, put it together, man, is like when you're struggling, you know that you're not doing as well in defense, and you're an offensive shooting team because you've been shooting over 50% on the field goals. But now entering the Big 12, you've been working on your defense, but now you're only shooting 39%. Is that a factor, or is it just the level of play has gone up, or both?
It's both. The first clip, the guy, the big man showed, so the guy wouldn't drive. The guard that was guarding the guard that was guarding the guy, he gets clipped, and we used to call that false defense. And as a coach, because he shouldn't have got clipped because he went under. So by going under, so he's supposed to go under and meet him on the other side. Mm-hmm. Then the big man can go back. In the second clip, when the guy got the open layup, the young kid that came off the bench just fell asleep. Yeah, he just, he all of a sudden we call it ball watching. He turned around, looked, stared at the ball, and this guy was behind him. He just lost sight of his man. And you just can't have those plays. It's just a level of awareness of what you have to do. Before they was getting beat, I think Bell does a good job of playing on ball screens. He was right where he was supposed to be. He stopped the guy from driving. And then he went back to his man, and he was into his own man, and it created an open shot. So it just then we're not shooting as well. Because the level of competition is higher. They know all the plays. They've seen you for now 10 games, 12 games. They scout. So now you have to just keep getting better, and the execution has to on both sides of the floor has to be a lot better.
Yeah, I've got a question to ask both Darryl and Damian when you all played there at West Virginia. I mean, I knew every position on that floor, offensive and defensive. And I think some of the players don't understand the whole thing as far as understanding each position. I mean, when you all played there, did you know every position on the court?
Go ahead, Damian. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, I did. I actually did, but that didn't actually come from WVU. That came when I was playing Boys and Girls Club, because our coaches used to make us go home in Boys and Girls Club, and you had to draw the position. You had to draw the plays. That was back in the day before all this technology and stuff, right? So you actually had to draw with the little, and this Prue, with the little skip lines to indicate a pass and all that, right? So we had to draw the position. We had to draw the plays out for every position and know where the people were supposed to be. So it was inevitable that because if you don't know, then you're just looking for the next open man and it's throwing the timing off. So
I think that's some of the things that are missing right now is that all the players know. you can't have one quarterback. You basically have to have 5 quarterbacks out on the floor.
That's having a feel for the game. You know, I didn't play rec ball. I just started playing organized in 8th grade. So I know what you're talking about. I've seen it. But
no wonder why you're so stiff.
but like it's you know what I mean, it's awareness. You know what I mean, the wanting to, the awareness, watching tape. You know, it's all that has to go into effect. You know what I mean? It's like you got to want to. At the end of the day, you got to want to. You know what I mean? Like if you want to stop a guy, you know, all this, you know, this basketball nowadays is guys going to trainers and is working on shot. Now, you know, nobody's teaching how to read the second play, see what's coming. You know what I mean? So nobody's really doing that. And you know, to answer Tim's question, you know, like I knew everybody's weaknesses on defense. Yeah, I knew if we're playing against Mike Reeswick and he's coming off 3 screens, I know Herbie might get clipped, and Herbie's not the fastest, most athletic guy. Chris Brooks is going to get, you know, beat every time. So I knew I had to help him out, help. So these guys got to know what each other is about to help each other out. You know, it's just not about me stopping my guys. It's about the team defense was what DL was trying to get to. So you're trying to stop everybody, and you're not going to stop everybody. That's when all the helps come in. And, you know, if you can't help, you know what I mean, like that's a bunch of individuals, you're not going to win like that on defense.
Yeah, like I said, it's more about awareness, you know, as far as overall offense and defense and everyone working together.
Yeah, it is. Okay, but right now, let's say they're not. So, Tim, as a player, how do you handle that situation and say, listen, without breaking up the unity, without breaking up the chemistry, how do you fix that?
I don't know. It's more just a communication on and off the court, you know, when you're dealing with the guys you play with. And that's what we did when I was back there, 80, 84. I mean, we all got along. We all talked to each other. We all helped each other out. And that's what it's got to be about.
Which could be more difficult for players that haven't played together through their careers, which they're still working through. But let's go ahead and move this on.
One more thing to that.
Yeah, go ahead, DP. Sure, man.
You know, as a coach, what I would do, I would jump my defenses. So, you know, I added a 1-3-1, 2-3 trap. You know, I think sometimes, especially coaches like Huggins, they are stubborn. They want to do what they want to do, how they want to do it their way. You know, I haven't seen the 1-3-1 yet. You know, even at Georgetown, we just played guys man to man, and then I was like, yo, we got to do something else. If we get beat, so we did a little matchup zone. We didn't know what we were doing, so the other teams didn't know what we were doing. We talked about that before. Sometimes you got to mix it up, and you know, if I'm scouting West Virginia, I'm like, all right, you go at him. This is what you do to go at him. This is what you do to go at him, and I'm gonna pick up all your weaknesses, and that's what teams are doing. They just execute and beating us.
I got to ask you, Darryl, as a you were a coach as well on the zone side of it. I know that back in the days when Hugs first started, who was it that taught him? I guess Beeline's 1-3-1, and they threw it in there, and it made sense, and they ended up winning the game. You know,
yeah, he kind of stuck with what those guys knew, and he added a lot of tweaks. I went to a coaching clinic a couple of years ago. Hugs had. And he had Andy Kennedy come in, and they were doing the 1-3-1. So I think he takes a little bit of his. He took a little bit of Beeline, took a little bit of Andy Kennedy, and tweaks it. You know, I used to like it because it wasn't a traditional 1-3-1. It was guys trapping. They were fake. Sometimes the center would go out and get the next pass. So I think doing all that. Maybe Bell can't move or read stuff like that. I don't know, but I think you just can't let these guys get in their offensive rhythm, and they'll kill you.
Okay. All right, folks, let's keep it going here with Eric Stevens apologizing. He's fouled out of both Big 12 games. Here's what he does bring. And then, DP, I'm going to start out with you about what he didn't bring or didn't. What he brings here is 14 points a game, shooting 51% from the floor, 45% three-point line. He's got averaging about 3 rebounds per game, 33 to 30 assists to turnovers, and he's got 17 steals. That's what he brings. What has he not been bringing in the 2 Big 12 games besides fouling out?
Well, he brought all that. I mean, he got us back in the game. Then he has the tech. You know what I mean? That's 2 games in a row. So that's potentially 4 points, and you lose by 3. You know what I mean? And they did it game before. So it's like he's shooting himself in the foot by playing well, but then you're helping the other team at the same time. So he got to figure out what team you want to play for. You know, if you want to play for us, you got to play for us. You know, those texts, you know, you get them sometimes. You know, being emotional, but the way he's being emotional, you know, because you hit a couple shots, keep hitting them. Keep hitting them. You know what I mean? Don't, you know, celebrate, but keep hitting them. But you ain't got to do overboard.
Right. Well, Dio, let me ask you this. You were never one to get in trouble like I was with Coach Nayland. So he apologized. Is he good and clear now? And says it's not going to happen again. It's not him. Is he all good?
Whether he's good now, going to depends on how his return is. Okay. I mean, are you going to do what you say you're going to do? But I'm going to go back to what Prue just said. He has to control his emotions. I mean, whether you're on fire, whether something you don't like the ref, look, when you're on that court, your emotions, you can't, you know, you do a great thing, you can't get too high, you can't get too excited. But at the same time, when you make a mistake, you can't get too low on yourself either. You know, you got to keep it mediocre. So just like Tim Duncan never smiled. He was always, he never got too high, never got too low. You got to keep it that way because that will affect the way you play. So, I mean, the guy's a flat-out scorer. I mean, he's good. He does it off the running off the screens, running. He does it off the dribble, pull up, so he can score. But when he's that emotional, I think it affects the team as well.
Sure. So, Ted, let me ask you this. Now, Keegan Johnson is out with a concussion, and you're going to have Toussaint is going to step in and start for him in that place. Now, Toussaint had a great 12 games leading up. I thought he was really active, really good, coming off the bench, 6-man and all that stuff. And of the last 2 games, he's been kind of a little shaky or a little bit out of control. What wasn't Kedrian? What have we lost, and what can Toussaint do to make up for it?
Well, first of all, you're asking a big man about a guard. But
that's why I got you on here, big guy.
Okay. Well, I've always been high on Toussaint this year. You know that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that as long as he can keep it under control, I think he's going to be a great asset. You know, as far as catering, I didn't realize till today that he was out with the concussion. But I'm just hoping that he keeps it under control. If he can do that, like I said, I put a lot of, as far as when I talk about Toussaint, I talk about Greg Jones because they have the same type of play. I mean, if he can keep it under control, he can be a great asset for this team.
What about you, DP? What does Toussaint got to do to help out this team and step up for Kedrian?
I think when he comes off the bench, he thinks he has to provide a spark. So that causes probably a lot of confusion. Hopefully, he will settle in. He's in the game early because sometimes he don't get in the game unless it's, you know, someone's in foul trouble or, you know, Kedrian is tired, and you know, if you don't play good right away, he's coming right back out. So I think probably to settle in more. Probably do some of the stuff he was doing early in the year, without pressing too much. Guard on the other team more of a facilitator than the score. So, you know, he should be good with it.
All right. Well, okay, let's go ahead, Damian, and let's go to Trey Mitchell, who is, you know, honestly, he has been on fire. He has 16 points, 7 rebounds against Oklahoma State. You know, he's 6'9", 225. But during the season, 13 points per game, 5 rebounds per game. He had his first double-double against Kansas State. What's he bringing to this game? And he's doing twice as good as he's done throughout his entire career.
Well, I think that he's going to be a factor in this game as well. I think that West Virginia is going to have to utilize the bigs. They're going to have to utilize their front court to put weight on Kansas, you know, to draw the fouls. And I know the free throw shooting has been not the greatest, but the great thing about if Bell and Mitchell and the other big men are able to get in there and draw fouls and get them in the bonus, we can score. Okay, but Bell is going to be a hard stop. If he starts to play, they're going to have to stop dropping people to help a little bit, okay? Because he's 280, right? He's 280,
right?
And you got to help. I mean, he's 280. Somebody's 225 checking him. He's going to be able to move, but we just got to make sure that he's not fouling. And Trey Mitchell can actually work off each other because if he actually has to, if there's somebody actually has to help with Bell, he can easily drop it off to Trey Mitchell. He can easily find Stevenson. He just got to find an open guy. He needs to want to draw the double team, and they got to be physical on the boards with him.
You know, I saw Trey there dumping off to Stevenson. Yeah, DP, I'll send this to you, and you can answer that and what you want. But I saw him dumping off for a nice assist. He's smooth in his whole game. It seems to be he can even do more assists.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we go back.
DP, go ahead.
That's the talk. That's what we talked about last week about having another playmaker. I don't think we have another playmaker. The issue with Bell, Damian, is he only has one move. He only turns over. He don't even go back to the other shoulder. He just, we watched the game against Oklahoma State. They just, okay, we're not going to let you get in the middle. We're not going to let you get in the middle. We're not going to let you get in the middle. And he has a hard time going back the other way. So he has to develop that part too. Because he, there was games where he scored down there and he's good. But, when you got 12 games of tape and they watching you, got to do something else.
Yeah.
And, and my thing, like Mitchell has stepped up. I think Mitchell needs to step up even more because he has that kind of talent. You know what I mean? He scores inside, he scores outside. I mean, the game is easy to him. Matthews has to do a little bit more. But like Damian said, if Mitchell gets going, I think this is a game for Mitchell because this team is not that big. It's not a typical Kansas team where they had a big 7-footer, the big guy in the middle. They're a little small. They're the same height on the backcourt. There's Bell and it's Matthews and Mitchell. They all 6'8", 6'9". They all gonna be looking at each other in the eyes. So I think that's where we have our advantage, especially with Mitchell.
And Prue, what I was saying to that Prue was he has to establish himself before he even touches the ball, to get down there where they can't move him. Does that make sense?
No, he's been doing that. Sometimes they just don't give it to him. I mean, we talked about it last week. There was a time when Stevenson and he got the guy, and Stevenson looked at it, and when he got the pressure, I don't think we have playmakers. I don't think we have passers. So I think that hurts the team. I think we're going to talk about it later. The comparison with Kansas, how they move the ball and how we move the ball.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on to Kansas, Bill Self, you know what he's all about. We all know they're the most winningest team in college basketball history now. It's the last season they did that. But looking at this here, watching the video of transition, the Mountaineers in the first 3 clips against Oklahoma State, hustling to get back, and then looking at a couple clips of KU because they live in transition. So I want you to go ahead and break this down. Tim, go ahead and start, man. But watching it here, this is the Mountaineers hustling to get back, doing a good job. There's Stevenson picking up the penetrator right there. Go ahead.
Well, I actually try to blow it up so I can see it a little bit better.
All right. Well, DP, go ahead, man.
Well, the scouting report was the Oklahoma State big. He had sprint down court. So Bell did a great job of being with him. The guys was finding the shooters, getting back. That's all Kansas does. It's Roy Williams, when he left Kansas to go to North Carolina, he did the same thing. They still play that way. They just going to use their athletes to try to wear you down. Make shots, they get it in quick. Miss shots, they get it out. They run the lanes. And this year, Kansas is a lot more dangerous because they got all these shooters. So they, you got one guy running down the middle, then you got all these other guys running to the 3-point line. So we have to do a real good job of taking good shots and sprinting back.
Well, I know, and I watched the press conference with Bill Self from yesterday, and they're going to try to pound it down our throats, and they're going to play physical, and they're going to try to, as far as on transition, get the ball out and moving. So, I mean, defensive wise, we've got to step up and make sure we're up to the task. But yeah, that's as for what Bill Self was saying in the press conference yesterday. They're looking for a physical game. What are you laughing about, Darryl?
Because they don't have physical guys. I mean, like he just talking. He know Huggy's gonna be physical.
Yeah, I know. He said that. No, he said that.
He knows Huggy's gonna be physical.
So they realize you're coming into battle. But we talked about this earlier before we started this thing. It depends on what referees show up and how the foul trouble happens. And it's always a question mark every time we play.
All right, the deal. Transition is supposed to be a big deal here because Kansas loves to do it. They even came up with the terminology that I heard, makes and misses, that Darryl told me about. What does that tell you about transition, makes and misses, both ends of the court?
Say that question one more time. I'm sorry.
Transition, both ends of the court, makes and misses.
Well, Prue talked about it. It's like they already know. They're quick to get it out, quick to get it up, and they know where to run to. They have spots that they run to. I mean, they're going to draw the defense down. That's why I said we got to be careful with our turnovers. Okay, we got to be careful that we don't put ourselves in a position where they get up so fast that we have a guard guarding Grady Dick, or excuse me, somebody guarding Grady Dick. So we got to get back. We got to get back. We got to be careful with the turnovers. And I would even say, to a certain extent, typically we used to crash the board sometime and say one person back. You might even want to leave two people back just to be able to protect it, to make them have to set up some offense and not just get those easy buckets, those quick buckets.
Mm-hmm. So DP, you're the coach. So I'm going to come to you about this and saying they play three guards, a 6'6" guard, a 6'8" guard, and a 6'1" guard. And they got a 6'7" guy and a 6'8" guy for forwards. What's the difference in 3 guards, 2 forwards, as opposed to the traditional 3 forwards and 2 guards?
I think it's just the title. I think it's just the title because
I wondered.
Yeah, because Grady Dix is 6'8", and I don't see him handling the ball, so he's just a good shooting forward. I don't think just list him as a guard for his future. But I don't think they have the 2 guards. The other guard is 6'6" and 6'1". We start with 6'9", 6'9", 6'7", 6'4", and 6'1". So we pretty much the same. I just think they say, like, to me, I think Emmett Matthews got me saying Emmett Smith again. Emmett Matthews is that swing. If we wanted to play big, I think Matthews can play that big guard position. I think he shoots it well enough. He moves it well enough. I just don't know how much he wants to handle it. But I think we can match up very well with them with that. And I just don't think, I don't think it sounds good, but I don't think they're as big as they used to be, because they had that big guy last couple of years for Kansas there. I was like, man, he's just a load, just like the big guy they had at Oklahoma State. It's just, but Bell matches up with that guy. I think Matthew, Trey Mitchell can match up with Wilson. I think Matthew can match up with Dix, or you could put Stevenson on him, and the other kid McCullough, you can put Matthews on. So I think those 2 are interchangeable. So I think we match up well, as far as size wise, against them.
I agree with Darryl. I mean, we got between Mitchell and Matthews. I think the matchup there with these guys could work from the outside as well as the inside. It depends on as well as the other folks. I think we match up well with them.
Mm-hmm. Well, look, I got this right here. I have this video here of DeJuan Harris, the 6'1" guard. He's 52% in 3-pointer here. And I'm going to play his video. And Damian, I want you to talk about this. This guy, he can put up the shots. He's a point guard. He makes the plays for KU. What do they got to do to defend him, especially now Keidron's out? Toussaint's probably going to be out.
Well, being 51% from the 3-point line, number one, you have to. There's no going under the screen. Okay, you're going to have to fight over the screen. You're going to have to make him penetrate, but at the same time, you're going to need help with that screen. Okay, so what you want to? I would pick him up at least at half court, about maybe mid half court to free throw line, right? But I would also always make him go to his weakest hand. Don't let him get to the middle. Always use the baseline and the sidelines as an extra man, right? So if he gets to the middle, he has so many ways to hurt you. So they're going to have to be physical with him, but more importantly, they're going to have to keep him in his weakest hand at as much as they can.
Now, let me ask you this. You have Jalen Wilson, who's coming up, but you have Grady Dick, who's 14 points per game. He seems to be all over the court. I just had him out there. You can see him out there playing. DeJuan Harris making, they're shooting 31 3-point attempts. And they got 3 guys that are 35% or higher. Grady's 45%. And so they're going ahead and they're 3-pointers. How do you stop more than just one then after DeJuan Harris? Go ahead, DP.
So I don't think I think the numbers for DeJuan Harris is a little misleading as far as the 3-point shot going under the screen.
All right.
I think he's more open and just, catch and shoot than off the dribble. He's run the team, even with the scouting report, it's a soft closeout on him. You know what I mean? So I don't know how many threes he's taken. I don't know if it's a lot, but I know he's more of a floor general, watching him over the years in high school. I was like, this kid, Grady Dix, this kid, man, he can flat out put the ball in the rim. You know what I mean? Like, he got the dribble pull-up game. He has the three-point game. It's like, a lot of guys catching, they got to get their rhythm, bring the ball back down and come up. He's catching the ball up right here, and he's letting it go. And he's one of those special shooters that you only see for, every few years. And I worry about him more than I worry about Harris shooting the three. He does a good job of running the team because he got all those guys he could throw the ball to. But I wouldn't press Harris, because I don't think Harris is the difference maker. I think these other guys are.
Okay. Well, Tim.
Darryl, I got to ask you a question. Do you think, as far as Grady, a good matchup would be with him and Matthews?
Either Matthews or Stevenson. I think it'd be either one. You know what I mean? I think the hardest thing would be with him is just to stay locked in with him and help him. I'd rather have Matthews helping off on defense than Stevenson, because he's, Matthews is a little taller and he'll rebound better. I was like, but this year it's going to be hard to, Kansas do a real good job of on one side of the floor, they swing the ball to the other side of the floor, back to the other side, they driving, throwing it back out. So it's going to be a whole lot of people running around.
Yeah.
All right, let me finish this off here. Hang on a second, fellas. Okay, so Par-Mar has over 200 stores in 5 states: West Virginia, Kentucky, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Maryland. And they're opening up all over the place in those 5 states. If there's not a Par-Mar store near you now, there will be one soon. And Wilson Martino Dental, they're big supporters of WVU. And did you know, Dio, that their dentist graduated from WVU? Well, all but one orthodontist who went to Penn State. Well, I guess they all can't be perfect. The Mountaineers and Wilson Martino Dental, yeah, they do that. I know you do that. Just do it, D.O. Just do it, baby. Okay, and then we have Country Roads Trust, West Virginia's name, image, and likeness team. Changing the game for WVU student athletes. And one more, D.O., because you're just doing it. And that's going to be Dan Cava, Toyota World. Shop the world, your Toyota dealer in Fairmont, West Virginia. All right, Damian Owens, man. I bet I'm going to have you read it the next time you come on. I'm going to have you read all those sponsor lists just so you can do it, man. Let's go ahead. Let's get into what I'm seeing is Jalen Wilson here. And Tim Kearney, I'm going to have you start out because you're a biggin and he's a biggin. 21 points per game, leading rebounder with 8.5.
What can you say? I mean, he's a 6'8", 225. He moves well, passes well, rebounds. I mean, he's got he's got over 8 rebounds a game, over 20 points a game. He's going to be a tough guy to defend, obviously. But he can shoot it all over the place.
All right, so Damian, then you got Grady, you got Jalen Wilson, you got other players, you got Harris. Honestly, you got 3 guys that are double-digit figures, and you got guys that go to the bench. They're 4- and 5-star guys, too. Who are you keying on here, man, to say, how do we stop all these guys?
I think that I would probably try to key in on Wilson myself, okay, just to help with him, because like you said, if you look at the stats, he's leading in both of those categories, points and rebounds. Okay, and I think a lot of those rebounds that the other people get might come off of trying to keep him away from the ball as well. Okay, so if you key in on keeping him away from the rebounds, keeping him contained, I think you have a shot, because then somebody else has to step up and fill the void. So I would key in on Wilson personally.
What about you, DP?
Yeah, you got to key on him and Dix, and even McCullough. It's like, with the scouting report, you can't sleep on on McCullough because he can get 22. Also, it's a good offensive team that Kansas has. You know what I mean? So you just got to make them make hard shots. They don't give them nothing easy. I just think you got to be solid, make them make tough shots. You can't key on one because they spread the floor. It's like, Wilson can play outside, he can play inside. He's a driver. His weak hand is his left, like Dio said earlier. They can drive left. if he's a strong right guy, make him drive a strong left and make him uncomfortable. But these three guys, it's going to be tough because they can put it up.
So, and also too, you got to worry about some of these. They got some strong guys coming off the bench too. With Zuby and this Bobby, another guard coming off the bench that's been in the last couple games have been helping them out. So they do have a strong bench. I know we do, West Virginia does, but still they have a strong bench as well.
Well, just like Dale said earlier, they got them 5-stars coming off the bench. We got transfers. That's not the same. You know what I mean? No offense to the West Virginia guys. It's a big difference when you got those 5-stars coming off the bench, and you got 5-stars, playing, and we piecing teams together. So but like Huggy's doing a great job of coaching these guys up. But it's just you got to be on point. You got to be locked in for the whole 40 minutes because it's going to be tough because these guys can put it up.
Yeah, but like Prue said, they have to make every shot tough, almost every shot tough for 40 minutes. Yeah. Almost every shot you got to have a hand in the face. They got to be shooting over somebody. You can't. You have to limit the easy buckets and you have to limit the turnovers for easy buckets.
All right. I hope Joe Trousseau. I hope he does a great job. If he gets a start. And I'm hoping, on the backside of it, Wilson's had some good games for us as well. He could be, to relieve Joe. So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, the other Johnson comes in, but I think Wilson plays a lot better at home. So I think he had knocked some shots down at home. Guys tend to shoot a little better at home.
All right, DP. So you say that they're a good offensive team, and I think we all agree with that. But honestly, defensively against Texas Tech, they showed they can be scored upon. They've given up some angles, some spacing there. And go ahead and talk about their defense because they are vulnerable. Now, here's the catch, though. They've had 2 Big 12 games, and they've won by 5 points. They've won at the last second. So the team's got character.
Yeah, but they know how to win. They've been winning. They've been together. Some of them guys been together for this is second year, some third year. We piecing together 6 new guys, for the last few months. Defensively, I don't think they're that strong. Defensively, they give up a lot of stuff. As they won the last 5 games by 5, and we lost the last 2 games by 5, and we lost the last 2 games by 6. So. In this league, it's going to be all the games. We call it a grind. I was at Georgetown. We're going to have to grind it out. And the teams that's willing to grind it out, usually the team that has more success at the end.
Dio, let me ask you this. Okay, so offensive keys. Now, Kansas is primarily, in the report, a man-to-man team. What are your offensive keys that the Mountaineers have to do tonight to be victorious?
I would like to see them to get some mismatches, some switches. Okay. I would also like to see them get a chance because as Prue stated and Kearney stated, we're going to be more physical. So I would like to see them to get some second chance opportunities at the board because that wear and tear takes a toll on you in the last 10 minutes of the game. You don't jump as high, your body, So I would like to see them put some bodies up against Kansas and wait on them as well. But I think we got to take advantage of the mismatches. And one thing Prue said that stood out earlier was we gotta pass the ball to create stuff instead of trying to create off the dribble all the time. Okay. I was always taught the ball moves faster when you push it up ahead to throw a pass than you do dribbling up the court. All right. And the team can't react. So we got to catch them. We got to be able to pass the ball, move the ball to get them to moving and not standing still and not having the back man watching so we can get better shots. But that's on the offense. And we also, like I say, got to limit turnovers. We got to keep it under 10. We got to keep about 10 turnovers or less.
Okay, which they have not been able to do the last 2 Big 12 games. So, Tim, what's your keys, man?
No, I totally agree with Damian. As far as this whole thing with the one guy dribbling and everyone standing around, we got to pass the ball. We got to move the ball around. We got to create movement. We got to keep lanes open. We've got to spread out the defense. I mean, that is the key. And, every time they do that, we win a game. And they haven't done that in the past. As far as if you see one guy dribbling and everyone else standing around, we're going to lose the game. Mm-hmm. And it kills me to watch it. I mean, as a former player, I just why is everyone standing around? Why is the ball? Why are they not passing the ball? And like Damian was 100% correct with what he was saying.
Absolutely. So, DP, that brings me to the point I want to talk to you about. As we're looking at the offenses, you said we're talking about the 4-1 motion and stuff, and kind of a comparison to WVU. Go ahead, man. Lay it on us.
Oh man, like if you watch Kentucky in their offense, they got that 4-round one. That ball does not stick. You know, like even if they throw it inside, he throws it back out. The guy he gets an angle, he drives it in to get help. The ball goes from, if you watch, they come down court, they bring the ball up on one side of the court. They bring it up on the left-hand side of the court. They immediately throw it to the right-hand side of the court. So the defense has to shift. Then they'll throw it back. The defense has to shift again. Then they start penetrating. Now the defense don't know where to go, and it creates a lot of mismatches. And just like Damian said, is if you pass the ball moves much faster than if you dribbling the ball. Now the ball is moving hot. It's hot. We used to call it hot. Make the ball hot. And they make the ball hot. And that's why if you see them, when they was losing against Oklahoma State, they was at the beginning of the game, they made the ball hot. It was banging shot, banging shot, banging shot. It was open shots.
And it spread out the defense.
It spread it. Like West Virginia, we don't have open shots unless we throw it to Bell and they double team and he throws it out to somebody.
And also,
go ahead.
No, also to add to what you're saying, DP, when you rotate the ball, the defense has to move. So that also gives you a chance to get position for offensive rebounds. If you don't move the ball, the defense don't move. They got the spots already.
That's how you get offensive rebounds.
Like you said, throw the ball. The defense cannot move as fast as you throwing the ball. So
Right.
it's spread them out all over the place.
Right.
I mean, that's
So that brings you back to one thing, though, right? And this is just a rookie here, don't know jack about basketball, but if you're going to do all that and keep those rebounds going, you better be able to hit your free throws.
well, yeah.
Or like Prue say, at least make the bucket and get a 3-point play.
All right, good. Well, listen, man, we got a couple more things here to talk about, but let's flip that over, though. What are your keys on defense? And who did I start with that last time? So, Damian, you go ahead and start out. Keys on defense to stopping all these guys. But don't forget about KJ Adams, the other forward, and of course, who's the other guy? Oh, McCullough, who transferred from Texas Tech.
Again, like I said, we number one on defense, like we've been talking about all day. They cannot get easy transition points. They cannot. You got to be able to pick up your man. If you know your man running out to the 3-point line, don't run to the paint unless the paint is wide open. You got to know what their shooters are. You have to know this stuff. But more importantly, we talked about we need to move the ball. They do move the ball a little bit more. We need to be able to not allow them to get any easy offensive buckets. Every shot has to be tough. Every rebound has to be fought for. Okay. I would step out a little bit further because they are shooters. But like we discussed, I would make their shooters put it in their weak hand. Okay, I would get them out of the positions that they know. I would make them put it in their weak hand. I'm right-handed, right? So it's a different shot if you dribbling with your right hand and the ball comes back right to your right hand and you can just pull it up and shoot. Then if you have to transfer it from your left to your right, that's two different motions. So we got to get them out of their routine, and that means I would say if you're going to go under a screen, a big man has to let the space go through so he don't have that much room. But I would also say the big man have to step out. Don't even let them go under screen. That's what I would do.
Well, that's pretty good, and I really like what you said. You brought out some great points. That's why I brought you on the show, man, to enlighten us, to enlighten Mountaineer Nation about it. But Tim, let's go to you now. And when you sit there and you see that they are so good and so fast on the transition that you better run your can back there, and you better look for the shooters.
Well, if they don't run their can back there, they're going to be on the bench, and the Huggins will pull them off. I mean, the transition side of it from Kansas, we really have to be careful of that. And also their intensity. They're going to be playing a physical game. And like I said, it depends upon, what happens on the refereeing side of it and what they're calling and to stay out of foul trouble. And I hope to God that, Eric, he keeps his head on this go around. I mean, he's a great player. He's a great shooter, but he just has to be under control.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, DP, listen, man. I want you to tell me it's the home crowd, baby. Feeding off the home crowd, right? They're going to be aggressive. It's going to be sold out. It's Mountaineer Nation, man. What does this team need to do to feed off that crowd and to be ultimately victorious, man? What do they got to do to nail it?
You know, everybody hit on the transition defense, but even before the transition defense, take a good shot. Take a good shot. Everybody know what you're doing. Then it's easier to get back in transition. Sometimes these guys take shots and people like don't know what you're doing. Then they got run back. You know, it's a little. You know, it causes a little bit of hesitation. Containing the dribble drives. You know, we've been weak all year on the dribble drive, and these, you know, Kansas and this Big 12, you got a whole bunch of guys that can drive the ball. So we got to keep guys out of the lane. Stop when a guy beats you. Stop reaching behind. Stevenson does that a lot. But we have to get the shot taking and the taking care of the ball. You know, I think the bad shots is just like a turnover. But we got to stop doing both, and that, you know, that's going to lead to a whole lot of, you know, transition points. They got back very good against Oklahoma State, but, you know, Kansas is a little different with it, so they're just going to have to up it up and just keep focus.
Darryl, I agree with the bad shots. It's just like a turnover. It really is, and we got you know, take care of you know, our shot selection.
All right. Deal. Let's go, baby. You get the final word on how to be victorious.
I agree with what they just said as well. But the only thing also about, you know, the bad shots, a lot of them bad shots comes from not moving the ball. You know, trying to create all the time off the dribble. But again, we got to take those good shots. We got to be in their face all the time. We got to be in their face for every shot. We got to contain our turnovers. But more importantly, we got to put that weight on them and offensive rebound. But the bad shots is with Prue's talking about. Stop taking so many shots off the dribble and just make the rotation, make them move so that they aren't just stationary and don't have to do any work. You got to make them work. You have to. True
words of wisdom, and as you're saying, one phase sets up another phase, and so true and so important. So, DL, who's your one player, or you can have a couple players? Who do you think is going to click?
I'm looking to see what Trey Mitchell do.
Trey Mitchell.
Trey Mitchell.
All right. Okay. What about you, Tim?
I'm with Darryl on that one. I think Trey and also Emmett. Let's see, because Emmett's kind of been quiet the last couple of games.
Still might be nursing that injury a little bit. What about you, DP?
I like Mitchell. I think Mitchell have a good game, but I'm kind of feeling Tucson on this. I'm thinking Tucson get a chance to just start lineup, and things click the right way. They win. He stays in the starting lineup. So I think, you know, I'm sure he this is an opportunity. So you got to take advantage of your opportunity. And this is, you know, like, okay, so I want to come in and coach. I want to play. This is the time you have your opportunity to play and prove a point.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to tell you what Eric Stevenson is going to come off of a game being all upset that he had to go through all this apology stuff, and he's just going to go light up the boards, everything, the net, everything. He's going to be all over the place, and he won't receive a technical foul tonight.
Okay.
I'm not saying it again.
As long as he keeps his mouth shut, we'll be fine.
Yo, Tim and Damian, me and Chris Brooks would have had him in the locker room, and we'd have whooped him. He lost his hands like that.
No, yeah.
Me and Chris we'd have locked the door. He'd have been calling for Randy.
And we all know what Randy means, even Tim. All right. Well, fantastic, guys. Thank you so much. David, man, you got to come back, brother. Anytime you want. It is open invitation. Tim's a mainstay. DP, mainstay. Hey, David, you want to be a mainstay, you can be it, brother, because you brought great knowledge. You came up big. You scored, and you defended just like you always did, brother. So thank you very much. That's it for Mountaineer Hardcourt Legends Pregame for the Kansas Jayhawks.
Appreciate
it. Titious Bird.
Appreciate you guys.
Mountaineers.
Let's go.
Bless, man.
Let's go. Good job, fellas.
Okay.
Destined for greatness. My name is written in stars. And I will give everything, all that I have to the cause. Fight against evil, run through the pain, battle it all, this is more than a game. I am a lion and I can't be tamed, it's how it was made, it's ice in my veins, run through it all. No matter the odds, I will answer the call. The enemy knocks on the door. Even the greatest among us will fall, but the greatest will get back up. So I won't back down, and I won't give up, and I will act now, and I will stand up. They know that I'm here for it all. Rise up, no matter what's in my way. Rise up, I will do what it takes. I will keep on fighting. I'll rise through it all. Rise up, no matter what's in my way. Rise up, I will do what it takes. I will keep on fighting. I'll rise through it all. Rise up.
No matter what it is you need, you'll find it at your local Parmar store. From gas to groceries, snacks, and everything else you always seem to run out of, Parmar Stores has it. Need more savings? Download the Parmar app and sign up for the Parmar Rewards Card. You won't only see our stores in your neighborhoods, you'll see us in your neighborhoods too. We are proud to be in your town and proud to be a part of the community. Come see us at Parmar Stores, and remember, if there's not a Parmar store near you now, there will be soon.
Wilson Martino Dental. Did you know that 95% of our dentists have graduated from WVU? And many former players and WVU coaches trust Wilson Martino Dental with their oral health. The Mountaineers and Wilson Martino Dental. Yeah, we do that.